Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Earth Key English podcast. My name is Gianluigi, and I'm one of the co-founders of this lovely Earth Key podcast. Today, we've got an extremely special guest. He's a very, very good friend of mine and an incredible artist. And the reason why we've got him today is because this month we're doing a STEM podcasts. So all of our podcasts this month are going to be on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. But before we jump into our little podcast, please don't forget, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell, and you can get free content straight to your inbox every single week. Right, so let's jump straight into this. My dear friend, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, it's lovely to have you. So could you quickly just introduce yourself to our lovely audience and tell us a little bit about where you're from?
Yes, so my name is Rabih Bardawheel. I'm from Lebanon, and I recently moved to Vietnam about 2 years ago. I'm 25 years old, and the reason why I came to Vietnam is to pursue music production.
Cool. So you've been here for about 2 years, hey?
Yeah, 2 years and a half.
Been in Hanoi for 2 years or all over the place?
So I lived in Saigon for 2 years, and then after that I decided to take my next move to Hanoi. So I've only been here for 3 months now.
Okay. Sure,
Yeah.
feels like you've been here a lot longer than that, eh?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, man. Rabih is actually my next door neighbor, so I can hear all of his music production going on, eh? So you came here specifically for music production. Why here?
So it's actually a really long story.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to do music production. I really wanted to pursue my musical career right after I graduated in human resources. And
Cool.
so my first destination was going to be Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Berlin did not really work out for me due to my passport. So it kind of sucked. And the universities in Berlin where they give you music production courses, they're not really universities.
Yeah.
They're more like institutes, so they cannot help you with a study permit.
Okay.
So my plans were kind of not working. Then I decided to do music production in Spain. Spain did not really work out for me because the embassy said that I didn't have enough economical means to support myself.
Yeah.
So basically I felt into depression for like a month or two until I decided to backpack in Europe.
Cool.
I did that for 3-4 months. I did some volunteer work in Poland and Czech Republic. And then finally I got my TEFL certificate, and some people said, okay, now you can be an English teacher.
Sick.
I said, okay, so what can I do really with this? You know, I still don't get it, you know? And then they said, well, you can make a lot of money in Thailand. So I said to myself, okay, that seems nice.
Yeah.
So I Googled Thailand, and apparently they had restrictions to non-native speakers. And then some people said, okay, why don't you just come to Vietnam? And then I said to myself, Vietnam? I don't know Vietnam.
Yeah.
Is Vietnam a country? Like I just know that Vietnam had the war back then, you know, but I didn't really know that Vietnam was a country, you know. And so I did some research, and then I discovered that I could work for 3-4 hours a day, and then I could make a lot of money doing those hours. And then I have more time to make music.
Cool.
Hence why I made the move here.
Yeah.
So I came here, and then I started studying with Point Blank.
Okay.
Which is the biggest music production school in the world, and the only reason I could actually be able to afford it is because I'm teaching English here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that the English teaching was more of like a gateway for you to actually achieve
Make
what
music,
you really want to
yeah.
do. Sick, man. That's really, really cool. So one of the things in our STEM program this month is art, and a part of art is music. So this is why we brought Rabih in today, because we wanted to talk a little bit more about what is it like producing music itself. So what type of music are you generally producing most of the time?
So I produce minimal and psychedelic techno.
Cool. Very interesting, hey? So for those who don't really understand what minimal or psychedelic techno is, could you give maybe a little breakdown of it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a 4 to the floor kind of beat. So boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. It's just very stable, and then you have a lot of trippy sounds, trippy trippy soundscapes that go along with the track to make it fit into the psychedelic realm, let's say.
Yeah. Okay, very interesting.
Because you have
man.
a lot of subgenres that are growing, and recently, like the new upcoming artists, they're not coming up because they can play a certain genre.
Yeah.
It's how they do this fusion between the genre and create their own subgenre.
Okay.
So this is the new thing that's coming up.
Okay. So it's a lot more of instead of like, here's the genre, can you play it? It's more like, here's the genre, what are you gonna do with it?
Yes.
In a way. Okay.
Yes.
No, that's really interesting, man. So what got you into music production from the beginning? Like, why did you want to start producing music?
So I actually started DJing before I got into music production.
Like me.
I remember this day. It was 2 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally about to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then my neighbor, she calls me, and then and the first thing that came up to my mind was, what did she do?
Yeah.
You know, like what? And
why am I getting this 2 a.m.
yeah,
phone call?
because like I was 17 years old. Like it's not really like, hey, like what are you doing? You know, it's just gonna be like, hey, I fucked up big time. Like,
Oh, hectic.
but like she called me, and then she was like, what are you up to? And I'm like, girl, you scared me, you know, you scared me a lot. What's up? And then she said, well, I want to go to BO18. And in Lebanon.
Sorry, I want to go to where?
BO18.
BO18.
So in Lebanon, BO18 is one of the biggest clubs. It's actually top 5 in the world. It's a bunker. It used to be a bomb shelter back in the war, but now it's
wow.
converted to a big underground club.
Man, I love it when they do this. Take old things and then reinnovate them.
Yes,
reinvent them.
exactly.
Yeah.
So she said, do you want to go there? I said, well, yes, I do want to go there, you know. And back then, before I even went to this club, I used to be a songwriter. I used to write raps.
Oh, wow. My other favorite music, hip-hop.
Yeah, so I used to be in a band, and I was the only English singer back then. I was writing music ever since I was maybe 7 or 8.
Okay.
My idol was Eminem. That's what I grew up to.
Likewise, actually, yeah. I also wrote like rhymes when I was
very interesting.
Yeah, from I think like grade 5 to around grade 8. Me and my friends would write rhymes.
That's the way to, you know, like improve in writing, you know. So like I've had a lot of just books of me writing, let's say, lyrics for girls, lyrics for my friends, just dropping beats, you know.
Yeah.
And so coming back to this night with the girl, I end up going to BO18, and then my life changed. I discovered techno, you know.
Yes,
and then like it was 2 a.m. in the morning, exactly. I remember it was 6 a.m. in the morning, the club was closed, and then you see the rooftop opening and the sun hits your face, and it was just the best feeling in the world. And
that's hell of a nice installation for a club, eh?
Right?
Welcome to the day, guy.
Oh my God. It was one of my best experiences ever, I remember. And then after that, I went to my first festival in Lebanon, and since then I just ended up loving electronic music.
Yeah.
Until one day I was drunk with my best friend and my ex-girlfriend sitting in a bar next to my house. I remember they were telling me, okay, so you have 2 options in life.
Yeah.
You either go to Amsterdam and do your organizational psychology masters, or you actually follow your music passion.
Music passion, here we come.
My dad was a bit disappointed, but actually right now he's proud of me and he's seeing what I'm capable of doing, and yeah, it's just nice, you know.
No, that's great,
because ironically my mom and dad, they're deaf, and I grew up loving music more than anything in the world.
Wow. Sure, that's really, really interesting, eh? So like they became deaf, or like it was part?
No,
like
it was really accidental. It was
hectic.
accidental, yeah, from childhood.
Oh wow. Yo, that's just kind of blown my mind right there. Hey, you grew up in a home where parents can't hear, but you're there
blasting music and neighbors just going, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the neighbors complaining, your parents not so much. They're
yeah.
Like, what's that sound? Why is
nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you be able to give us like a very quick like laydown of how you would go about producing a techno track?
Well, before you would actually get hands on starting with production, I would recommend someone to start DJing first. so you can have at least an understanding of how tracks work, how you need to mix your track, what do you need to place in your track in order for the DJ to make it friendly enough to mix it, you know what I mean?
Ah, okay. So you're constantly thinking while you're producing the music, you're also thinking about how is this going to sound when we mix it together.
Yes, you have
Okay.
to. You always have to make it DJ friendly. Otherwise, why would he play your track? You know what I mean? It has to fit in or blend in with his story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a few Cytron songs that I've tried to mix together where the DJ's added like an extra 4 beats and it's just like, what? It can throw your whole mix off as well.
Yes.
But yeah, cheeky DJs. Well done, guys. Okay, cool. So you'd recommend start mixing first so you understand the tracks?
Yes, and then when you actually go into production, well, you just have to understand the basic concepts of what are the main elements of a track.
Mm-hmm.
So the kick, the bass, the percussive elements, hi-hat, snares, all those things, they have to be centered.
Mm-hmm.
So let's assume that you have a stereo image, you have mono, and then you have left, and then you have right.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that those main elements that I've just named have to be centered. So you cannot pan them or to the left or to the right.
Okay.
Because when you're at a festival, you have a right speaker and then a left speaker, but then you have everything that falls in the middle.
Yes, yeah.
And this is where the main elements have to be dropped. And then you start by adding the sound effects and the melodies, and those can fall anywhere else on the stereo image.
Okay.
I would recommend for a beginner music producer to take his time and be patient. He has to at least try to finish as much tracks as possible before he gets one of his tracks released. It's a matter of how much time you put in, what you discover when you're making music, and well, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting, man. So in one of your tracks, I've seen some of the software you guys use, and a lot of people are using Ableton software to produce music.
Yes.
And like I've looked at some of the folders of some of these tracks, and it's just like layers on layers of sounds. Well, how many would you say that there's like an average number of layers you use for your producing tracks, or is it just kind of let's just see where this track is gonna go?
So, and this is a matter of what kind of genre is being produced. So if you have some people that can finish a whole track by having at least maybe 8 to 10 layers.
Okay, so
But
like bass, kick
and all that.
hi-hat, and then
Yes.
okay,
But
yeah.
then you have the psychedelic people.
Yeah.
Those, they need to make sure that they manipulate the song enough for you to trip and have a good time on the dance floor, you know? So their job is to add as much sound effects and as much distortion and try to add different layers of sounds that fit in together in the track.
Okay.
And then you just end up with having at least 30 or 34 layers of things. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So when you guys start producing a track, I'm guessing you choose, first of all, the key that you want the song to be in.
Yes.
Okay. Then all the other sounds that you add onto it, are those all within the same key progression, or?
So some of them are within the same key progression, but some sound effects don't need to be in the same key.
Okay.
Because
why not?
So for example, you have the kick that has to be in the key with the bass, with the melodies, because that's going to be the whole key of your track.
Yeah.
But then you have the sound effects. You don't really need to put them in the same key. Otherwise, everything is just in one key or like one tone. So it's
all
kind
like
of boring.
Monotonous.
Monotonous, exactly.
Okay.
So you need to add some variation and crazy stuff in between those.
Okay.
But as long as you have the main elements placed in the same key, you have nothing to worry about.
Okay. Very interesting, man.
But it's not easy to tune everything to your key. It takes a lot of time, especially with the kick and the bass.
Why so?
Because first of all, you have to make sure that the kick is sounding good, and then the bass is sounding good, and then right after that, you have to put them in a key. You have to tune them. Tuning them takes a little bit of time. When you're a beginner, it takes at least 2 weeks to understand.
So you've got like put the bass in, you put the kick in, and now it's like play with the levels until they're matched
and
up.
right after that, you have something called phase alignment, which is something that I've recently discovered actually.
Okay.
Phase alignment is when you can actually see the kick and the bass in an audio form, so you can see it, and then you just put them put them parallel to each other. So let's say that you have a waveform. You have to make sure that the waveform of the kick is the same as the bass.
The waveform is the bass.
Yes, and that's what we call phase alignment in the music production.
Okay. And
process.
how does that make the track sound better or anything? I'm learning as much as I can here.
Yeah.
At the same time.
So basically, you wouldn't have the bass overlapping the kick or the kick overlapping the bass. The bass, they are going together.
Okay, so it wouldn't make this like.
Exactly,
kind of just
especially
off
when you have a
time.
compression on the bass. So the bass goes right under the kick when you have the kick going on. So it's tick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you have a compression, and then you have to make sure that the waveforms are exactly aligned.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's super interesting, hey. And I mean, if you guys think about it, music, all it is waves traveling through the air. And obviously, the more excited the wave is going to be, it's going to give you a lot more energy. And yeah, it's something that I was speaking with another producer friend of ours. You remember Leo?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was telling me that when he produces sounds and he tries to create new sounds, he says he puts the sound in a room to try and get the clearest version of that sound in a room.
If he's recreating a sound, you mean?
Yes, yeah. So if he's completely recreating a sound, he says he puts it. I can't remember. There's software that he used where he's like, I take it from Ableton, I put it into this software that puts it in a room and then extracts the cleanest version of that audio, and then he puts that into a song.
That is interesting. So my way of recreating a sound is by having something called a zoom, which is a field recorder. You can place that zoom in a room that doesn't have a lot of reverberation, and then you can get as well the cleanest version of that.
Okay, yeah. No, I like that idea as well. Similar to how I edit these sound bits as well, as taking away extra noise reduction and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, I remember him explaining to me about like when you're DJing and mixing music for a crowd of people, you need to think of it in terms of, welcome to my room for the next hour. These are the sounds that you guys are going to listen to and enjoy for the next hour. And I found that
that's quite interesting.
Absolutely fascinating when he told me, he's like, you're basically creating a space for people to come and express themselves however they want. And he said that, excuse me, and he's like, he said that with that understanding, as a DJ, performer, musician, you can get the crowd to do almost anything you want to do. If you want to get them to go to sleep, you can start putting on some chiller music and things like this, and they will, because they're following that vibration, and your room the whole room is vibrating in that one frequency that you're transmitting.
Exactly.
And it just, when he told me that, I was just like, mind blown. I see music and I see festivals in a completely different light now compared to before, which I think, honestly, I really take my hat off to you guys for all the music you guys are producing as well. As you can see, guys, it's very cold here in Hanoi. Beanies and jerseys are coming on.
Super cold, yes.
Oh, the winter time is not fun for us. But cool, so I wanted to ask you, have there been any artists that have really influenced your style of production?
Yes, so many artists from Xenon Records, if you know them, many artists
love
from
Xenon Records.
Yes, Evil Flow, Superb, things like that. Mostly in the minimal scene, there's a guy called Breger.
Yes, I know Breger, yes.
Yeah, and he's the game changer.
Yeah.
He like, I don't know how he does it, but he has a song released every single day.
No,
I don't know how he does it.
That's madness.
And
COVID lockdown, that's how he did it.
Dude, you should see his studio. His studio is literally in the middle of nowhere. He's surrounded by trees and plants. And he has like a regular table, no sound acoustics, just blended with nature, and then he creates all those tracks.
Maybe that's exactly what he needs, though. Is that he's just
this
sampling
is his
from
room.
his room that he's created.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Sampling from nature and things as well.
Especially when you start to make music, at first you start to understand what music production is, but then right after you have to find your own sound, right? And creating your own sound takes a lot of time. So if you have, let's say, a guy working 8 hours a day to get a normal salary. Well, this is exactly what we do just to get our own sound.
Yes.
In
Oh,
order
that's
for
a
us to be
lovely way to
successful,
put
it
it
takes
as well.
a lot of time, dude.
Yeah,
You-
yeah.
It's not gonna happen in a matter of 1 hour or 2 hours a day. Like,
Mm.
you have to really dedicate yourself in order to achieve something, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I've set my heart and my mind to, because I don't want to disappoint my parents and I don't want to disappoint myself, because
Yeah.
I've came a long way just to make it happen. you
Yeah,
know?
I think that's the biggest thing, is not disappointing yourself, man, because that can really drive someone's consciousness
Yeah, man.
all the way down. Hey, yeah, man. It's something I've learned as well from DJing over the last year, is that there's a certain sound in the psytrance genre that I really enjoy mixing. And I've noticed that the more events you go to and the more DJs you listen to, is that every DJ does have their own sound itself, the style of music that they like to play. Whether it's their own music or not, it's that there's a specific sound that gets that DJ.
Of course.
And it's lovely to see how people are able to get music from so many different inspirations and still create that same feeling that they want to let out for their room of dancing crazy people. Yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So let's start wrapping up here. I wanted to ask you, what does the future look like for you? What are your plans going ahead in the next few years?
Hopefully, if things go well, or like as planned, I would love for my music to reach a certain audience, so I can get some international bookings and keep working on myself.
Yes.
Because music doesn't sell as much, because mostly, if not everybody, cracks or downloads free music, so you know that you're not gonna make a lot of money from making your own tracks, but you will make money from playing to beautiful crowds in the festivals.
Yeah, man. I think that's. I'm itching for another festival right
Me too, dude. Me too.
Yeah, I
me
think
too.
a lot of us are. Yeah, man. But before we go, are there any like tips or tricks you'd like to leave our viewers with if they're interested in getting into music production?
Step 1, make sure you love music.
Most
You
important.
You can dedicate all your time to music. Step 2, please don't give up. It's beautiful, Like, once you sit in the room and you start playing with sounds, trust me, you're gonna fall in love with it. Whether it be a kick sound or any soundscape, just keep going. Don't stop. Don't let anything distract you along the way, because satisfy yourself before you satisfy anything else in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming to join us. If you guys want to listen to some of Rabih's music, I'm going to put it in the link below, so you can click that link and listen to some groovy beats that this guy has been making. But yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Thank
It
you
was
so
awesome
much.
to have you on the show today. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. And please, before we go, don't forget, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get free content every single week. Right, guys and girls, thank you very much. My name is Gianluigi. This is Rabih, and we'll see you guys next week.
Ciao.
Goodbye.